We have one watching now. Hello, welcome to the stream. Okay, everything is set up. Everything should be set up. Let me check my mic one more time. Yes, it is working. Great. Okay. Alright. And we will begin. Alright. Hello everyone, welcome back to more Xenoblade Chronicles X. In the last stream, we left off with killing some Grexes at the NLA entrance, and actually going into New LA with some really good music. And that's where we are now. We just entered New LA, and we are going to go explore the city. And yes, I know that Miiverse service ended, and yeah, that Nintendo continues to make me feel worse by constantly reminding me of that. Alright, we're about to get into a cutscene here, so I will go silent.
How about a quick tour of the facilities to refresh your memory? Let's start with your living quarters. Follow me.
Brave citizens of New Los Angeles, good day. This is your Director General, Maurice Chausson. Today, I once again come to you with news I am truly delighted to share. Yesterday, we repatriated 10 more White Whale crew members. These fellow pioneers will rejoin our ranks as citizens of NLA, bringing with them skills and know-how that will bolster our ability to survive and indeed flourish here in our new home. This, of course, is only the latest success in our continuing efforts.
Director General? Since when?
For the rescue and recovery
2 days ago, ma'am.
Brothers and sisters. I stand here truly.
From political aide to director general in just a few weeks. At this rate, he'll be emperor by next month.
For a better NLA and a better
Irina?
tomorrow.
Gwyn?
Nice work out there, ma'am.
Right. Introductions. Irina Akulov, Gwyn Evans.
This one of the survivors, Colonel?
The survivor. I only found a single pod intact at Starfall Basin.
Wait, what? What happened to 10 more crew members?
Come on, seriously? Chausson was never one to let the truth get in the way of a good speech. Still, every last survivor counts. You can call me Irina. I'm with the Interceptors.
Me too. Same division. You can call me Mr. Evans. Or just Gwyn.
The three of us were in the Coalition forces together. Specifically, the Special Operations Heavy Armor Training Unit, aka the Skeleton Crew. I was a colonel and Irina a lieutenant. Gwyn was a more recent recruit. Of course, I keep telling them we don't need those old ranks anymore now that we're here.
You're still Colonel to me, ma'am. No reorg will ever change that. And that's not about chain of command either. It's about respect. You've earned it.
And the award for best ass kiss goes to...
Well, I'd remind you both the ma'ams aren't necessary if I thought you'd listen.
All right, ma'am. We should be getting back to work. Until next time, Colonel.
Right. We should be going too. The administrative district isn't far. That's where you'll be calling home. For now, anyway.
We'll be meeting back up with him later, but here we have Chapter 1, New Los Angeles. We have arrived in the Central Industrial District, and it's almost nighttime already. Never actually had that happen before. I guess I spent too much time outside of New LA getting here. Lots of people we can talk to, but we'll be able to talk to them later, so we'll just continue on to the next story cutscene.
Look, I know what exhaust smells like, and it was exhaust in the cockpit. Just check the ductwork, would ya?
Oh, I'm checking. I just seriously doubt... Hey, look at that! The intake exhaust bypass is reversed. Oh man, it's a good thing I caught that.
You caught that? You're the one who cleared me to fly!
Everything okay? It's not like you to flub a flight check, Lynn. Good thing you had a rugged pilot like Doug at the controls.
Oh, hey Elma. How'd it go out there? And would this be one of the you-know-whos? Cool. I'm Lynn Lee Koo, mechanic and top all-around fix-it gal for Blade. Yeah, well that, doesn't usually happen.
We know it doesn't, Lynn. Look, I know what you're thinking. But believe me, young as she may look, and yes, she is young, she's actually one of our top talents.
Most of the time, that is. Most of the time.
Anyway, you guys heading back to the barracks?
Yeah. Why do you ask?
As long as you're here, why don't I take you on the transport? It's a great way to see the city. I'll give you the grand tour.
That sounds like a great idea.
All right, Doug, I think that'll be all for today. You can clean up here and dock the Skell.
What?
Don't mind the exhaust. I'll take care of it tomorrow.
Don't mind it? Wait, why am I cleaning up your mess in the first place? Lynn! Lynn!
Okay, so we have a new party member here, Lynn. And I'm going to switch her into my party. She is a shield trooper. We're going to get to classes later, but I'm just going over. Cross is a drifter, currently. We will be able to change that later. Elma's a full metal jaguar, and Lynn is a shield trooper. Okay. So, continuing onward. Once again, there's a lot more of the city to explore. Like, I mean, a lot more. But for now, we just need to continue on with the story. This game does start out a little bit slow, but it does get, trust me, it does get a lot better later on. We're going to talk to the transport pilot, and we will take this tour. The tour, the store.
Not bad, huh? You can see everything from up here.
It beats walking, that's for sure.
The best way to see NLA. I never get tired of this view. It's like a different city every time.
It's certainly come a long way in the last few weeks. There's still so much to be done.
One day at a time.
Speaking of which, we don't really have time for a full pleasure cruise here. Why don't you give us the express tour, Lynn? Just the highlights.
Okay, you got it. New LA is divided into 4 districts. We departed from the industrial district, where Doug and I were conducting the flight test. It has food production, skill development, you know, industries and stuff.
It's also where the West Gate is located, remember? Expect to pass through there fairly often. The only other gate out of the city is in the administrative district, but I'm skipping ahead.
Next Next is the commercial district. Restaurants, galleries, cafes, clothing, groceries, you name it. It's a veritable shopping paradise.
The CD is the closest thing to a downtown we've got. It can actually get pretty crowded sometimes.
Well, by NLA standards anyway. Day or night, the best and only bargains on the planet. To your right, the residential district. Housing, housing, and more housing. Well, plus a nice park and the cathedral.
If you're ever looking for quiet time alone, or want to relax and unwind with a good book, that's the spot.
Right? The park is my favorite place to just zone out and chill. And last but not least, our destination, the administrative district, the nerve center at the heart of NLA. Note the distinct dual-level structure here. The upper level holds our administrative tower, home to Blade HQ and the government. Not to mention Armory Alley, as well as the barracks where we live. The lower level there is a hangar complex for Skell maintenance and repairs. And this concludes our tour. We will be landing shortly.
Thanks, Lynn. We'll save the rest of orientation for once we're back at the barracks.
Enjoy your stay in the administrative district, and thank you for flying Lindley Airlines.
Right. Let's get you over to the barracks. Then I should file my report. They'll be eager to hear the details on how I found you, I'm sure.
Well then, we better not keep them waiting. The barracks are pretty close, actually. They're set up just behind the giant blade tower here. That road there wraps around the left side and leads right to it.
We'll pass through Armory Alley, but let's not get sidetracked, okay? We can check it out later.
Okay, so we've reached the administrative district and Blade Tower. And we're going to pass through Armory Alley to get to the Blade Barracks.
Really?
Now, here, the music that's playing right now, the new Los Angeles music, it's very controversial among the Xenoblade fandom because it's different. Much of the soundtrack is very different from the original, as it's a lot more lyrical than it is instrumental. There is some really amazing instrumental tracks, and I think that overall the soundtrack is really good. But there are lyrics at play, which many people debate on whether that is a good or a bad thing. But the more controversial song is the new Los Angeles theme, which many people say is cheesy. And while in some ways it really is, I think it fits the mood for like a bustling city, which is what they're trying to go for New LA. Anyway, there's the Blade Barracks. Let's go.
I need to be even stronger.
And here we are, the Blade Barracks. Consider yourself our guest until we finish getting you registered. Feel free to come and go as you please.
I think I can answer that one. So, you must be the latest rescue.
Secretary Nagi!
Miss Cool. Chipper as always, I see.
What can I say? Pep is my middle name.
I ran into Doug Barrett on the way here, and he didn't seem quite so upbeat. Anything about today's flight I should know?
No. Nothing to worry about.
Good. Be sure it stays that way. More importantly, Elma, you found another one.
Excellent work out there.
Just doing my job, Mr. Secretary.
Now, as for officially registering our new citizen here...
Why don't we talk inside? There's a lot of ground to cover. It could take some time.
Ah yes, of course. Forgive me. You must be weary from the stasis and your journey back to us. Please, after you.
I'll put on some tea.
Allow me to formally introduce myself. My name is Kentaro Nagi. You may remember me as Captain of the White Whale, but now I serve as Secretary of Defense here for New LA. The provisional government has charged me with keeping the peace, so all military and police matters fall under my jurisdiction.
He's also my superior officer. And he'd be an excellent person to talk to when you're ready to start looking for work.
What about a job right here with Blade? He seems capable.
Let's give it a little more time. At least until he knows enough to be able to make an informed decision. He seems to be suffering from some form of memory loss.
Memory loss? From the stasis?
He could barely remember his name, and nothing at all about what happened to Earth or the White Whale.
I see. Though, come to think of it, the entire lot of us have only been on this planet for what, 2 months? It shouldn't take very long to get caught up.
My thoughts exactly.
Well then, where should we begin? It started at the end, 2 years ago. The end of Earth. The casualty of a battle between two hyper-advanced alien civilizations. Their technology and weapons were beyond our comprehension. We were like infants, naked, powerless. The Earth was reduced to ash and blown away.
I still wonder if I hadn't been there. If maybe all of this could have somehow been avoided.
No one can know that, Elma. What we do know is without you, there'd have been no Project Exodus, and no escape for any of us. Did it go perfectly? No. But we are here, and we are alive. We survived. So yes, Project Exodus. Once we learned the Earth might be threatened, we needed a plan to preserve all her various life forms. That plan was the Earth Life Colonization Project, otherwise known as Project Exodus.
Those of us who escaped on the White Whale spent over 2 years wandering in space. 2 hard years. But we clung to our mission, find a habitable planet and settle there. We had no idea how long it would take. Or that the decision would eventually be made for us.
The xenoforms found us again, and, well, it wasn't a happy reunion. Earth wasn't enough. They wanted humanity destroyed. For better and for worse, we were close to planet Mira when we lost control of the White Whale. Inertia and gravity took it from there.
The ship had taken way too much damage to survive entering the atmosphere intact. We had no choice. We channeled all the power we had left to soft land the habitat. Once the dust cleared, we set to work transforming it into its current state. Searching for survivors, establishing Blade, installing the provisional government. Basically, making it a sustainable city.
Blade is an acronym. Builders of a legacy after the destruction of Earth. Quite fitting, I think. It's a relatively new organization. Up there in space, we had plenty of provisions, and a crew trained to handle the limited amount of situations we might encounter in our travels. But of course, all that changed after we lost most of our ship and came crashing down here on Mira. We needed food, water, search and rescue teams, surveyors, police. The list goes on and on. It was too much for the provisional government to manage on its own, so Blade was born. The idea was to have one central organization with different disciplines to fill these various roles. Its core was pulled from the Coalition military, so it's mostly former soldiers. But fighting isn't our most important duty. Right now, we have a single top priority that supersedes all others. The search for and recovery of the Lifehold.
Take a look at this. The White Whale was designed to carry an exceedingly large number of passengers, all of them held in stasis. All housed in a structure called the Lifehold. This is a complete schematic of that facility. Only essential personnel were conscious and active for the journey from Earth. The flight crew, maintenance engineers. And of course, some military so we could defend ourselves if necessary. But the vast majority were in the Lifehold. Are in the Lifehold. With any luck, they're all still there, in stasis, waiting to be rescued. But there's a problem. We now know the Lifehold broke apart along with the rest of the ship when we came down on Mira. What we don't know is exactly where all the pieces landed. Not very comforting, I know. Blade's top priority now is locating the missing units.
Ah, yes. All citizens of NLA are required to register their name, age, and occupation. We also ask you report any personal assets and take a short survey regarding your current state of health. All purely as a precaution. I'm sure you understand. As the caretakers of humanity's survival, we all have certain responsibilities.
And hey, it's not all bad. Registering gets you access to all kinds of public services.
In any case, I'm sure this is all a lot to digest. You'll be wanting some time. Ms. Ku, even I'm tired of hearing myself speak. Why don't you take our guest out for some air? Perhaps a tour of the administrative district.
Yes, sir. Come on, we'll keep this briefing brief.
Information overload. That was a lot of information important to us at once. Basically, to sum up, Blade is Blade is what runs the main defenses and government of New LA, and our main goal is to search for the Lifehold where everyone else in stasis has been held. It's been lost since we crashed on Mira. And now Lynn is going to take us through some briefing outside. Now, I'm going to choose the second choice here. You can choose different choices throughout the cutscenes. I'm going to choose the second choice here because it is fantastic. You'll see what I mean. It's hilarious.
You know, it's not every day we're authorized to let a civilian tour the administrative district.
Yeah, Nagi must really, really want him to join Blade.
The AD is a bit different from the other districts. It's got everything a Blade would need, all in one place, without any extra fluff.
Get a load of that Skell. Even the way that they walk is so cool. Oh yeah, work it, baby. Now this guy gets it. Aren't they just the coolest? Just everything about them. The lasers, the force fields, the bipedal and vehicular transformations. You ever have that dream where you're inside one and it's just transforming over and over and over? Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Actually, I don't normally show this to people, but I've been working on some Skell fanfiction. Hold on, I'll just pull it up here 1 sec.
Lynn?
Oh, right. Sorry.
Originally, Skells were developed as a defensive measure to counter potential alien threats. It wasn't enough to save Earth, though. We were outnumbered and outgunned. Still, just look around you. New LA has gone from basically nothing to this in just 2 short months. We could never have come so far so fast without Skell technology. I'd love to get you into one to see for yourself, but it's not that simple.
Well, yeah, duh. For one thing, only Blades are allowed to pilot Skells. And even then, you need a license.
These aren't toys we're talking about. They're complex machines with powerful weapons. And they're a precious resource. We only have so many of them to go around. So yes, as you might imagine, the certification process is a fairly rigorous one.
I'm sure you're thinking, where do I sign up for the test? But it's not that simple. They choose you, not the other way around. You can't just walk in the front door and volunteer.
There is some criteria. The details are largely hidden, but basically, HQ only allows the cream of the crop to take the test. Blades who go above and beyond in their duties, and for the people of New LA in general.
So what do you say? If you become a Blade and work hard, I'm sure it'll only be a matter of time before they tap you on the shoulder.
Speaking of work, that reminds me. Why don't we check out the mission control board first? That's where we take on our assignments.
Good call. Let's head on over.
I love that second option. The reference to the fanfiction. Alright. Now one plot hole I will have to say with the second option is, where the heck did your character actually know about Skells? He could have... It could have been something he like briefly remembered for a second, but still, he still has the stasis hangover. Anyway, here's the Blade Concourse and or the mission control board.
So this is mission control. We don't have a dispatch system yet, so Blades usually choose their own assignments. Everyone comes here and selects from the missions available on the board.
And it's not just official Blade tasks. Anyone with a request is free to post here. Businesses, citizens, whoever.
Yeah, it's basically how anything gets done in New LA, so the board is constantly updating. Just about every Blade will stop by here at some point in their shift.
It's like our second home. You'll always find a number of Blades around here, blowing off steam or browsing mission control for their next assignment.
Whenever I get freed up, I'll stop here first thing to check for any missions I might be suited for.
Likewise. And if the assignment seems too tough to handle solo, that's what the Scout console is for. We should show you that next.
Hey, who's giving this tour anyway? We also have the Scout console, if the assignment seems too tough to handle solo. And Elma just said that, didn't she?
Hey.
Yeah, you'll be coming back to this place a lot. I have a lot of praise for this, for the system of the mission control, but I'll go over that later. On to the next part of our tour. which this is actually probably the most useless thing here.
Ta-da!
Excuse me.
The Blade Scout Console. When the going gets tough, the tough go to the Scout Console. You know, to get tougher.
If you do end up joining us, you'll quickly realize just how important this little kiosk is. A lot of the mission control assignments are too much for any one blade to handle. They tend to call for multiple members with specialized knowledge or unique skills. This console lets you search for and recruit other blades to fill those roles for just such an occasion.
You can't spell blade without team. Sorta. Anyway, awesome, right? So, you ready to join up?
Hang on, Lynn. Take it easy, would you?
What? I'm just saying you'd have to be some kind of an idiot not to want to join Blade. Or maybe a crazy person.
Oh, and here I thought you might be pressuring our guest.
Apology accepted. Now, how about a little shopping? And I'm not talking about the stuff over in the commercial district. I'm talking about Armory Alley.
They say how important this little kiosk is, but I'm not, that's basically where the multiplayer comes in this game, and you don't really use that often. At least it's not anywhere near as often as you go to Mission Control. Anyway, here's Armory Alley. This is the place we go to often.
So this street's what we call Armory Alley.
Blades can requisition equipment from any of the vendors here.
I won't lie, most Blade members face danger on a daily basis. Having the latest gear isn't about impressing your friends. It's a matter of survival.
True enough. And that goes not only for your personal armor and weapons, what we call ground gear, but for skell equipment as well.
You can even buy whole skells. Can you imagine owning your own skell? Huh? Oh, right, the tour. I think all that's left is the heart of Blade itself. Blade Tower.
As you would expect for this being an RPG, you will come back to here a lot because this is the main shopping area. Anyway, to Blade Tower. Also, have I shown yet how far or how high you jump whenever you're sprinting? Look at this. You jump unreasonably high. You can even jump over stuff like this. That's an improvement on the original game, if I do say so myself.
So yeah, Blade Tower. When we come here, it's usually to stop by Blade HQ. The higher-ups, like Secretary Nagi and Commander Vandam, will spend most of their day here. The government leaders, too. They're based in the tower. Guys like our new Director General Maurice Chassan, for example.
Blades sometimes report to the leadership here after we finish key assignments. You'll want to remember this place.
And that about does it for our tour. So, what do you think? Pretty amazing setup, right? You can't wait to join Blade, right?
Okay, Lynn, seriously, that's enough. We're not here to make a sales pitch. We just want you to have all the facts so you can make an informed decision to join us, or not. Now that you've seen where and how we work, hopefully it made a good impression, but your decision will be just that, your decision. In any case, let's head back to the barracks. Secretary Nagi will be waiting.
Why I'm enjoying this stream, and I did read your comment about that. What you said about the original Xenoblade. I just did that as a speed run. I wasn't actually trying to show the story. I would have shown the story, but that I have a whole other playthrough where I play through around close to halfway through the game elsewhere on this channel. So you can go see that if you want to see the actual story. But the other live stream, that was just a speed run. I was wanting to talk to the chat. All right, I'll confirm saving my data. And chapter 1 is complete. So now we can head back to the Blade Barracks. Secretary Nagi is waiting.
Hey.
Of course, there's the pop in here. That does happen kind of a lot in this game, but it doesn't happen anywhere near as much as it did in the original, especially Magna Forest in the original. It does happen quite a bit, though.
Honey, we're home.
Yes, very amusing.
Who wants a fresh cup of tea?
Thank you, Ms. Gu, but I can't stay long. I just wanted to pass along a request from your commanding officer.
Commander Vandam? Does it have anything to do with our new arrival?
Correct. He stopped by while you were out on your tour. He said he'll come back, but that I shouldn't wait to ask you.
Here we go. I bet I can guess.
You probably can. He wants to fast-track our new friend here for blade duty with a training assignment.
What in the hell are we waiting for?
As he put it.
The commander does have a way with words.
Makes even my pitch sound smooth.
I explained about the memory issues, but he didn't see it as a problem. And to be honest, given our current need for blade recruits, I can't say I entirely disagree.
Hey, it's not me you need to convince. Blade service is voluntary, remember?
Of course, and I would never force or coerce anyone. Well, friend, what do you say? Can we count on you to do your part? I knew you'd make the right choice. Welcome to the organization. Elma, he can start on your team. You'll begin training immediately.
Yes, Mr. Secretary. With pleasure.
All right. Welcome to the Cool Kids Club.
Now then, let's discuss that training assignment. We've decided to start you out on a probe installation, just to get your feet wet.
I guess we should back up a bit. Here in New LA, we're using a specialized computer system called Frontier Nav to help us deploy a sensor grid across Mira. A network of data probes that allows us to monitor conditions and collect all kinds of information about the planet.
Expanding that grid and filling in the blind spots is one of Blade's highest priorities. Here, take a look at this. What you're seeing on screen is a terrain map that includes New LA and the surrounding landmass. As you can see, we've divided the area into a series of hexagonal blocks. We call these blocks segments. Together, they form our grid. We determined this was the most efficient pattern, given the limited range of our probes. Based on it, we know exactly where we need the probes to go. Now we just have to install them.
The sooner the better, as far as I'm concerned. The Frontier Nav probes can also detect the general locations of living things in the vicinity, which comes in handy if we need to track down a blade or another citizen.
Yes, quite handy indeed. So for this first exercise, you'll be heading here, to that white segment. Go there, install the data probe, and then come back home.
Got it. East of the city.
In that case, we can take the east gate out of the administrative district, right? We should be there in no time.
I'll leave the details on the data probe installation procedure to you, Elma.
Of course, Mr. Secretary. All right, you two, shall we?
Yeah! Training or not, let's go install the hell out of that probe!
And thus Chapter 2 begins, The New Frontier. And as the name suggests, we are going to be updating Frontier Nav, as they said. We're going to go install a probe. You'll be doing this a lot in Xenoblade X, installing probes and exploring the world. It's an integral part of exploring in this game in general.
Man, am I glad we pulled an assignment to the east of the city this time. It'd be a long walk all the way back over to the west gate.
Hold on. Are we even sure the East Gate will be open? Last I heard, it was still on lockdown from all the high-level indigent activity.
It was, but they just lowered the threat level earlier today. The gates are officially open for business. One of our teams must have gone out there and kicked some furry indigent butt, huh?
Wouldn't surprise me at all. Irina's team is one of our best.
How does he know Irina and Gwyn?
We ran into them just before we met up with you. They were on their way out to an assignment.
Well, then that settles it. It must have been them, right? Man, forget this amateur hour probe baloney. Those guys are where the action's at.
I'll try not to take that personally. But enough talk. We've got our mission to deal with. Let's head out.
Roger. That probe isn't gonna install itself. Let's get to the East Gate, shall we?
Alright, so here's a tutorial about segments. You can view segments from the gamepad. The entire Frontier nav is open to you on the gamepad, and I know you can't see it, but on the gamepad you can see you can open up a full map to see the entire world. There are 5 different continents to explore. We're going to Primordia right now, which is the continent we've been in, and the continent that New LA is in. Or you can also access New LA, and New LA has its own map. Using this, you can skip travel and fast travel, essentially, around the world, just by tapping an area on the map that you can fast travel to. You can only fast travel to landmarks. Like, for example, the East Gates. That's a landmark. You can't fast travel to stuff like areas and things. There is a difference. You can also fast travel to any probe you've already installed, but we'll get to probes a little bit more later, because those are very, very important. Now, on the way there, I've already gone over, a lot has changed, I guess I could say, about our party. Also, I want to level up a little bit, so I want to show some things that have changed with our party. First off, our main character has learned 2 new arts. One of which, alright, I'm just going to... I really want to target the Vesper. Let's do, there's a little Apex right there. We'll target the Wood Lapex. No, it's a level 6, never mind. We'll target the miniature Adsecula then. So, the 2 new arts that he has learned, actually no, he has only learned 1 new art, never mind, we went over Slit Edge last time. It is Infuriate. Infuriate inflicts a move called Taunt, or an effect called Taunt, which basically forces the enemy to attack you. It's very similar. Using Taunt is very similar to Aggro from the original game. In the original Xenoblade, you could Aggro was built up as you attacked an enemy, and that would basically increase the enemy's animosity toward you, and it would actually target you with whoever had built up the most aggro. The enemy would target. It doesn't work the same in this game. You just inflict taunt, and the enemy will automatically start targeting you. But that's the idea. It's basically a way of tanking in this game. It isn't really a good art for a drifter class, and it's not really how I'm going to be using my avatar. But for characters like Lyn, who has high defense, you want to have her always taunting the enemy so that she can take the attacks, and she has higher defense and HP than some of the other characters. And speaking of which, I'd like to go over some of the other characters, because we've gained some new stuff. So, I've already gone over Cross's playstyle. Cross or avatar, is basically just kind of however you want him to be. But right now he's a drifter class, and he'll be a drifter class for a while, so we'll get to that later. Anyway, Elma, I haven't actually gone over Elma nor Lyn. Elma is a Full Metal Jaguar, and thus is really, really good at ranged attacks. She fires with dual guns, and which means she can attack she does double the amount of hits per single auto attack. since she has 2 guns, she can fire twice with 1 hit. She also has iron blades. I believe those are 2 iron blades that she can use to attack 2 times within 1 melee attack. They do less damage with each one, but the fact that she can attack twice means that she's good at rapid fire damage. Think Fiora from the original game. Elma's really good at dealing rapid fire damage, but she has fairly low HP. But she's just all around a really good damage dealer, if I were to say that. You want her to have typically the higher ranged, specifically ranged, but also melee attack than the other characters in the party. Now for Lyn. Lyn has the highest HP and defense. Defenses currently of the party members we have. And she is a shield trooper. Shield troopers are essentially the tanks of this game. Think Rhine from the original game in Lyn's case. You can use her to, she has various arts that can inflict taunt, and you can use her to draw the enemy's attention and have her take all of the hits, while other characters can stay off to the side and not take any hits while dealing some damage. That was my brother. He briefly came in there. He briefly came into the room. For her weapons, she has a Storm Machine, which is a pretty bulky long-range weapon, and its fire rate is fairly slow, but it still does a bit more damage than ranged weapons typically do. She also has an Iron Shield, which does less damage than close range weapons typically do, but they increase her defense, so that's fine. And she needs defense as a shield trooper, so she can take a lot more hits. You typically want to have her when you're equipping your strongest armor. You can, once again, it's so good. You can do that from the sub menu. You would typically want to have her have all of the strongest armor, and then depending on what you have your avatar as, you can have your avatar next or Elma next. But for right now, I'm going to have my avatar of the next strongest armor, and then Elma after that. Hopefully she can actually get a good, busted headwear. It's okay, but it's at least better than than having no headwear at all. Actually, it's not better at all because it doesn't increase any of her stats, but it's something. At least there's a slot that's filled in. My OCD is reacting strongly to the empty slot. Anyway, I would like to go over some of the arts that they have by getting into battle. So I'm going to switch around my party members, and I'm going to first play as Elma. Alright. So Elma, I've already gone over her main playstyle, but now I want to go over her arts. She first has the famous meme from this game, Sliding Slinger. It is a ranged attack move that damages 5 times when used, and from the side, it as a bonus effect from the side, it does more damage. She also has Shadow Strike. Does more damage from behind. It's essentially the backslash of this game. It's a one-hit move. It does a lot of damage from behind. It's once again, backslash. She has Stream Edge, reference to the original game. Its bonus effect, it does increase damage when doing melee combos. A melee combo in this game is doing multiple melee attacks, which are represented by orange-colored arts, in succession. When done in a melee combo, Shadow Strike does more damage, but also Strike uses something called Tension. Tension is a new mechanic we haven't gone over yet. Tension, in Xenoblade, or in Xenoblade X, basically, the more you do auto attacks, you build up tension, or TP, represented by in the morale level on the battle palette. You can see your HP and your current tension points, or TP. There are specific arts that some of the more stronger arts in this game use tension points rather than just having a cooldown. They do have a cooldown, but they also, in addition, use tension points. So you need to be aware of that as well. That's what Stream Edge does. She also has Upper Hand, which grants her critical power. I believe that actually just increases her critical rate. For not her, but you can do it on any of your party members. It's only herself. Okay, never mind. It does it to Elma. You can't choose for that one. It does it to herself. She also has early bird. This is an aura. Auras in this game are basically effects that happen to the person using them. Typically, auras use tension points like this one here does. Early bird raises the critical power tier and boosts the critical chance. So basically, another big part of Elma is that she also has a pretty high critical rate, and her arts benefit from this. Critical rates basically, if you know anything about RPGs, critical attacks happen on occasion, and they double the damage. And lastly, she has Side Slash, which, just from the name, it does more damage from the side. It also inflicts fatigue, which is a move that I believe decreases accuracy. Don't quote me on that, but I believe that's what it does. So that's Elma. She, once again, does damage, and she the main draw to her is that she does a lot of damage and has a high critical rate. I guess I can use some of those other arts here. And also go over something else. I can use Side Slash. That one I just did. You've been seeing that a lot. In this game, there are things called soul voices. Occasionally on the screen, they will come up with a quick time event where you have to press B at a certain time. During this, a soul voice will activate, just like there, where one of your party members will call out for someone to do a specific move. And when that happens, when one of your party members does that certain move, then the person you release the soul voice will gain affinity between them and that party member. Affinity is another mechanic I haven't gone over yet. Affinity is basically the morale, the measure of the bond between your party members. I'll show that. You can actually see it in the menu, and I'll show that in a second. Let's do upper hand here. I used it twice because it had a Side Slash. Whenever you do a quick time event, that means your character is releasing a soul voice. But over the course of the battle, other characters will be doing the same thing. Whenever a character is released a soul voice, there will be a glowing aura around the art that they want, the arts that you could use to increase the affinity. So what affinity does is it's a measure of the bond between your characters. Like here, I can see character affinity. I'll go over this more later, but essentially, as you battle more and use more soul voices with your party members... Hold on, I need to check on the stream real quick. Alright, so yeah. My audio is working fine. XB character, you should join Blades. Main character, sorry, can't. Why? Because he's joining the Force. I'm sorry if it feels like you're at school. There's just so much to explain right now. But as you fight more with certain party members and you do more soul voices, you get the bond between those party members increases, and then they battle better together. And you can also use this to do other things like affinity missions, which we'll get to later, and heart to hearts, another thing we'll get to later. I'm sorry if there's a lot of mechanics. I'm sorry if it feels like this is an information overload, but there are a lot of mechanics to go over right now. So now that's all of Elma, and that's what the affinity and soul voices are. So now on to Lyn. So switching over to Lyn. Lyn, as I said, is a tank, and I would like to go over some of her arts. Let's see if I can get into a battle. Should be something at least along this track. That's the probe. The orange light is emitted from the probe that we have to go to. Let's see. At least something around here.
What's happening?
You're a bit strong for us. Sorry. My characters are a little bit under leveled right now. Okay, I can go over Lyn later. There's gotta be something around here. It's at least like a level 5. Alright, level 5. Glassland Ovis. I'm running away from this other enemy who noticed me. Okay, it's gone. Grassland Ovis. So, Lyn's arts. She first has Fire Carnival, deals thermal damage. The one thing that Lyn is very good at doing is dealing thermal damage. And it does multiple attacks and deals for thermal damage. It's a long-range attack. Next, she has Wild Smash, which boosts damage against toppled targets. Topple I went over earlier. That was fairly quick. Okay. And next, the next art is another art that uses tension points. Is Wild Down. Wild Down, much like the Wild Down from Xenoblade, which Ryan has, will inflict topple on the enemy. It will temporarily restrict it from attacking or moving. So a good combo would be Wild Down, then Wild Smash, because Wild Smash does increased damage when against topple enemies, and Wild Down will topple the enemy. And last we have Flame Clock, which basically grants Lyn and any nearby allies thermal resistance up, which basically increases their defense against thermal damage. Okay, so that's Lyn, and I think for this battle, I think I'll continue to play as Lyn. Okay, before I get into the battle, I would like to upgrade the arts. I've gone over upgrading arts before, right? How you can use your battle points to put into arts, and you can also switch them around the art palette. I am going to switch my arts around just to find something that I like. I think what I'm going to do for Lyn is I'm going to put Flame Clock over here so that I can have my... Okay, I can start with a Wild Down, then lead to Wild Smash, so that I can use that combo, and then over here I have Fire Carnival for extra damage, and if I need some defense, I'm fighting a thermal damage using enemy, I can have that. I can have Fire Cloak there, Flame Cloak, excuse me. As far as leveling her arts up, I'm going to level up Wild Down. It's a very, very useful art. I'm going to level up Wild Smash along with that. Fire Carnival can do some extra damage. I'll level that up, and I don't really think we need Flame Cloak right now, so I'm just going to put the rest of my... Alright, insufficient. I'll save my BP for later then. As far as Elma... Let's see. I'll keep these two by this side so that I can do Shadow Strike and then lead into Stream Edge, and since that's boost damage during a melee combo, I can have a melee combo there, boosting the damage. Sliding Slinger... Both Sliding Slinger and Side Slash do more damage from the side, so I'm going to have those by each other. And then I'm going to move Early Bird... Actually... Okay, no. I need to re-equip my Early Bird. I'm going to keep Early Bird off to the side. And then move Upper Hand over here as well. So I can have my melee arts over here and just other spare arts over here as well. Okay. And now for upgrading her arts, I will upgrade Sliding Slinger, very useful art. Stream Edge, another very useful art. Shadow Strike, a very useful art. Especially since it inflicts stagger. Another thing that Elma's very good at is inflicting stagger, which can make the enemy not able to move for a certain amount of time. Essentially, it's much like blowdown or knockback in Xenoblade. More like blowdown than like knockback. Grants critical power. I'll upgrade that. She's very good at doing critical hits, and I'll upgrade Side Slash. Early Bird, I don't think I'll be using it right now, but I'll upgrade it anyway. So she only has 2 battle points left. Now for Cross, I'll move his melee arts to the side like I have the other characters, and then I don't really need Infuriate, so I'll just keep it over to the side. I won't be using it. I don't really want Cross to be too much of a tank, so I'll upgrade Assault Hammer because Topple is a really useful ability. Well, status. Flame Grenade. It's always a good one. Slit Edge. And Chrome Armor if I need it. For other things, I can upgrade. I'm gonna upgrade Assault Hammer again. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that should be fine. I'm going to take Lyn to the battle, or not into a battle. Well, yes, into a battle, but I just spoiled something. I'm sorry. Anyway, so it's daytime now, and we're heading into the to the probe site. And there are a lot of dead bodies here of certain species. We'll go see what happened.
What the hell happened here? You don't think that one Sinicula could have killed all these simius?
Unless...
Unless... what?
This is bad.
What's bad? I don't follow you.
That Sinicula. It's a tyrant.
Huh? But it looks just like any other Sinicula.
Think about it. Your typical simius is way higher up on the food chain than your typical Sinicula, right? Usually we'd find one simius standing over 3 or 4 Sinicula corpses. But here, the tables have been turned. And I don't see a single trace of any other indigents in the area. There's only one explanation. That Sinicula is a tyrant.
Let me check the Blade Report database. If there's a tyrant this close to the city, someone must have run across it. Bingo. There was a Sinicula tyrant sighted not too long ago, but it was a couple of segments further out.
It could have followed the blade that spotted it back towards New LA, or come here to feed, or who knows what.
That's crazy. I can't believe there's a tyrant right on our doorstep and HQ isn't doing a thing about it.
Well, don't forget why they sent us here in the first place. Frontier Nav's range is still limited.
Oh, right. They couldn't track it if there's no local probe. They must have lost it when it went off the grid.
Yeah, we're not even in Blade yet. We're just in a training session, but there's a tyrant here. I'm not actually that reckless in real life, so I was going to say I'm reckless, but my character in this game is reckless, so yeah, I'm gonna kill it.
Whoa, whoa, whoa there, Rookie. We're talking about a tyrant here. Do you even understand what that means?
We should probably explain. Tyrant is our term for any indigenous life form that falls outside of our usual threat ranking system. In other words, they're too powerful for us to even measure how dangerous they would be to take on.
And too powerful doesn't always just mean physically strong. If a creature has even a single especially nasty trait, it's classified as a tyrant.
Even some of Blade's very best teams have come back with serious injuries after running into a tyrant in the field. If they come back at all.
Well, alright. I'm game if you are. Count me in, Elma. Let's do this. If we're gonna settle here on this planet, we're gonna have to get used to dealing with tyrants now and then. We can't just keep running forever, you know? Besides, I'd never forgive myself if someone else ended up getting hurt because we just left it here.
Alright. Let's do it. But don't push it, okay? Either of you. If we can take it down, great, but if not, even just luring it away would be a moral victory. As long as we buy enough time to install the probe, we can use Frontier Nav to track it, or any other tyrant that comes this close to the city from now on. Just make sure you're ready before we attack. This will be tougher than anything else we've faced.
Okay, so she's telling us stuff we've already done, which is just upgrading our gear and arts. So, let's go defeat this tyrant.
Oh, they've seen us!
Volkemp the Pursuer. I'm not sure. I'm probably butchering that name, but you know what? Most of the names in this game are unpronounceable anyway. Okay, that didn't topple it because I'm focusing on an appendage, but whatever. I wasn't going to get the bonus effect anyway because I couldn't topple it. That appendage is down. I'll focus on this one for right now. That's going to deal thermal damage. Just going to use Fire Carnival just to try to take it out as best I can. Wild Smash. Hold on. Okay, right here. Okay, there. If I had Wild Smash, then it would be really good against this against it being toppled, but I don't have it at the moment. I have to say, this music, I've always really liked. And I know a lot of other people really like it as well. It's called Uncontrollable. It plays whenever you're fighting a tyrant. Okay. Fire Carnival. I just want to take out that appendage. I'm not really worried about the bonus effects. Even though Fire Carnival doesn't even have a bonus effect, it's down. We won.
We are awesome!
Nice work, Lynn. You fought well. You did too. Now let's get down to business and install that data probe. If we stay here for long, there's no telling what other playmates might show up. This beam of light indicates a frontier nav site. It marks the ideal spot to bury the probe.
Okay, the probe should be ready for insertion. I'll just boot it up.
Thanks, Lynn. The top half of the cylinder contains the probe itself. The bottom half is a laser. It dissolves the soil so the probe can burrow to the proper depth. We tried just planting them on the surface at first, but we kept running into problems with the local wildlife damaging the goods. Burying them is going to save us all a lot of time and headaches in the long run. We all set?
Yes, ma'am. Whenever you're ready.
Why don't you do the honors? You can launch it right from your comm device. Give it a try. Good. Now we just need to give it a minute to reach the target depth.
And installation complete. We are now online with a solid connection to Frontier Nav.
Excellent. See? At the end of the day, there's really not much to it. The hardest part was calculating the ideal probe locations. We need them spread out evenly to maximize data collection.
Yep, planting probes is easy. And the more we plant, the more likely we are to find missing crew. So anytime you see a probe site, there's no excuse not to plant that sucker.
That'll do it for your training. Let's head back to the barracks and report to Secretary Nagi.
Okay, from killing Volcamp the Destroyer, the Pursuer, excuse me, we have Worn Survival Body Wear. Yeah, excellent, excellent, reward there for killing a tyrant. We have Worn Body Wear. Yeah, that's something. We have another tutorial here. Whenever you come across a data probe, you just mash A, just like you would when you come across some treasure, and it will be installed. Now, Elma's advice: size does matter in this game. It matters. It's pretty much everything whenever you're fighting an enemy. That size matters. I mean, level matters too, but if you're outsized by an enemy, either your weapon is not going to be long enough ranged for you to do any damage to it, or you're just going to be crushed by its appendages. So I would recommend taking out, at this moment at least, sizable enemies, at least until you have we have a Skell, which, trust me, we will get a Skell later. Much later, though. That's going to be around Chapter 6. Now, heading back to NLA. Okay. I have to say, this is one of those songs that I really like, the Primordium music. Especially this part of the song. It's really adventurous, it's really triumphant. It gets you in that feeling of just wanting to explore endlessly. now we're heading back to NLA. As we have completed our training mission where we defeated a freaking tyrant. Alright, here comes the Blade Barracks. And once again, we're going to use our unnecessarily high jump to get there. And we have arrived.
Commander Vandam.
Well, now, look what the cat dragged in.
Sorry we missed you last time. We could have come to meet you at HQ, you know.
Indeed. I suggested as much. Twice.
And we know how much I enjoy being told what to do. Anyway, I hear you tangled with a tyrant, way out of your league. On a training mission, no less. That was reckless, and goddamn magnificent.
So, Commander, to what do we owe the pleasure of your visit here today?
Well, I can't just ask Nagi to do everything for me. I'd be out of a job.
Hey, I delivered you the new recruit, didn't I?
Yeah, you won the bet. Don't worry about it, all right? I'll settle up with you later. You know I'm good for it.
The bet?
I'm sure I'm needed elsewhere. If you'll all excuse me, Commander.
Well, that wasn't obvious at all.
Huh. Look at you two. I swear, you're like two children excited about a new toy.
Look who's talking. I don't recall ever seeing you file a request to personally train a rescue before.
Is that so odd?
It is before we'd even asked him to become a blade, little Miss Stick in the Rear.
Usually I ask when I don't get your slang expressions, but something tells me to just let that one go.
Enough about that. Where are your manners, anyway? I still haven't been introduced to our new recruit here.
Commander Vandam is Blade's top officer.
In a past life, I was chief engineer on the White Whale. Same idea, basically. Someone has a problem, I fix it. You follow? Huh. Not much for conversation, are you?
So you still haven't told us why you're here. From the look of things, I'm guessing this isn't a social call.
You don't think?
No. So let's cut the crap and get down to business.
Ha! Sounds like you're learning my expressions just fine, Elma. Anyway, first we need Chatty Cathy here to choose a division and pull an assignment. Whoa there, Itchy Trigger. I know you're just chafing at the bit to run out there and grab the world by its tail, but you need to choose a division first. Once that's all hashed out, we can get into detail about what your first assignment's gonna be.
Pretty much everyone in New LA works for Blade, in one of several different fields. Helping to explore Mira, or to maintain order in the city, or, well, you remember Nagi's speech, right? There are 8 different fields in all, and each one has its own branch within Blade. Officially, they're called divisions. Naturally, you'll want to choose one that best suits your personality and your talents.
Let's start with the Pathfinders. Pathfinder's #1 responsibility is planting data probes, like you did on your training mission. It may not be the sexiest job, but important? You bet your ass it's important. We've only been on Mira 2 months. We don't know jack about this place. The more probes we install, the faster we can get our bearings here and give ourselves a fighting chance.
We've already detailed how important it is we expand the Frontier Nav network ASAP. So, for the time being, I'll just remind you of the highlights. It helps us keep Blade safe. It helps us keep the city safe. And most important of all, it's the key to locating the missing parts of the Lifehold and recovering the rest of the human race.
Okay, next up, Interceptors. You met Akalov and Evans, right? Irina and Gwen? This is their division. Interceptors have one main duty: protect New LA and everyone in it from the wildlife here on Mira. Right now, this is probably our busiest division. Interceptors ride shotgun for the research eggheads, they escort VIPs around, and they help any other idiots who get caught out there with their pants down.
Next are the Harriers. Remember Doug Barrett, the Skell pilot conducting the test flight with Lynn? He's part of the Harriers. If you think of the Interceptors as defense, Harriers would be New LA's offense. They specialize in preemptive strikes on clear and obvious threats. But only on clear and obvious threats. They're not meant to go out and just blast any indigen that moves.
And you got your Reclaimers. These guys are in charge of finding the other pieces of the White Whale. Among other things, that is. Including anything of ours left behind after a battle. Skell debris, weapons, personal effects. It can get a bit morbid, frankly, but it's gotta be done. Until we're up and running here on Mira, and have this place completely figured out. Everything we brought from Earth needs to be treated like it's irreplaceable. Also, the search for the Lifehold. That's mostly on the Reclaimers.
Next, Curators. Curators are the first to scout ahead to unexplored territory, bringing back whatever samples they can get their hands on. Fruits, bugs, sticks and stones, you name it. It's not all picking berries, though. Being a curator also means being the first to encounter unknown indigens.
Next? All right, prospectors. Prospectors do, well, prospecting. They poke around, looking for minerals, resources, and whatnot. Things we need for everyday life here. We packed all the essentials we could on the White Whale, but that won't last forever. We need to be able to replenish our water and fuel if we want to survive. And sooner or later, we're gonna have to figure out how to replace things from scratch. From the socket on a Skell's knee joint, right down to the frying pan in Lynn's kitchen. Without these guys busting their butts, we'd have no future to speak of.
Next up, Outfitters. All of our ground gear and Skell weaponry is developed in conjunction with private arms manufacturers, or AMs. Outfitters are Blade's way of supporting these AMs. They'll seek out anything that might inspire new weapon ideas, and even assist with testing new prototypes.
Finally, the Mediators. These are the folks who keep everything hunky-dory with John and Joan Q public. Any problems a civvy has, they come to Mediators. Fight with your neighbor? Mediators. Lost cat? Mediators. It's not a division for everyone. You need to be a jack of all trades, and a people person. Someone with my charming personality? Probably not the best mediator. But if you got what it takes, it's a clutch role, keeping things cool on the home front.
All right, so I think that's all 8 divisions. Any idea which one you'd like to join? Don't fret about it too much. Whichever you choose, you still have a lot of freedom in how you operate. Mediators can still get out there and mix it up, hunt indigens, whatever. And if a Harrier wants to take a break and settle an argument, That's their prerogative too. To be honest, even though it's sort of frowned upon, you can actually change your division whenever you like. So there's really no reason to stress about this. All right, you ready to choose?
Indeed we are.
Yeah, and we're on pins and needles here.
Okay. So, he told us all of the main things that these 8 divisions do. Now, they make it seem like divisions are really, really important, but they're actually not. They don't really serve, I mean, they serve a purpose, sure, but they're not as important as many other things in this game. For one, you can change your division whenever you like, and two, it only the stuff you do within your division only affects like certain bonuses you get and division points, which essentially you can all of the divisions online are competing with each other, and the division who's earning the most division points wins overall. So here it shows the bonuses you get and actions that boost the division points. For example, Pathfinders, of course, as it said, discovering locations and planting data probes. Interceptors is defeating enemies, completing missions. Defeating tyrants and defeating enemies is on the Harriers. However, each of these has what you see down there, a division support effect. This is the main reason you would ever choose a division. For example, Pathfinders have HP support, which basically that it increases any. If a Pathfinder has any, well, if you're a Pathfinder and you have any buffing or healing art, the effects of those arts are increased, and also I believe it increases your HP. I'm not entirely sure on that. Interceptors have Range Master, which increases the total range attack that you do. Harriers have Melee Master, which is the same thing for melee attack. Reclaimers have Drop Sensor. This one's useful. It basically makes enemies that you fight drop rarer items. It's really good. In my opinion, it's the best of all of these. Curators is Critical Master, increases your critical hit chance. That is my dog. She's being annoying. Prospectors have Defense Support, which increases your overall defense. Outfitters have R&D Support, which basically just increases the amount of R&D points that you get. R&D is something that we'll get to later. The whole deal with arms manufacturers and the like. That's something we'll get to later. And then Mediators have TP support, or Tension Point support. This is also another very useful one because you gain more tension through using auto attacks, and there's a lot of really good arts in this game that use tension, so that's really useful. However, out of all of these, I think Reclaimers is the one I usually go with. The first time I played through this game, I went with the Pathfinders. The second time I played through this game, I went with the Reclaimers. And I have to say, I had a more overall, I guess, more satisfying experience when I was with the Reclaimers, just because I could get rarer drops and be able to. Certain quests require rarer drops, and I could. I was fit for those quests since I could get those rare drops, or I could then sell them for other stuff as well. So I think that's what I'll go with. I'll be a Reclaimer. And also, Reclaimers are the most important to the story as well because they're searching for the Lifehold, and the Lifehold is the ultimate goal in Xenoblade X's story. Alright, so I'm choosing the Reclaimers for the second time in a row.
Then it's settled?
All right. Thank God that's over. By the power invested in me, yada yada, you're officially a Blade.
Congrats, and welcome.
I know you're gonna do great.
Now for the job. Let's get down to brass tacks. Nelson's team has gone missing, Last contact we had, they were installing a data probe out in eastern Primordia. Then, nothing.
Nelson. Pathfinders, right?
Are we talking indigents here or what?
Your guess is as good as mine, but they did have a skell with them. You'd think they could hold their own, or at least run away.
Alright, we're on it. We'll head to their last known location and go from there.
Report whatever you find ASAP.
Of course. Let's move out.
Roger that.
Chapter 3, Builders of a Legacy. After the destruction of Earth. Okay. Anyway, we have a tutorial here. There's a lot more things we can do now. We're kind of out of the cutscene heavy zone, so this game has opened up a lot more to us. It will open up even more after this chapter, but it's opened up a bit more to us. We're not going to be continuing with the story until a little bit later, because just a lot more is opened up to us, and there's more that we can do. So Eleonora is talking to us about blade services like the AM terminal, the shop terminal, and the mission control. We'll check out those in a minute. Hold on. Fast travel. Okay, yeah, she's just telling us about fast travel. I already explained fast travel. You can fast travel and quickly warp to any landmark you've been to. Now Lynn is telling us about arms manufacturers. We'll get to that later. That's a mechanic that we will elaborate on much later. Okay. I'm going to... Alright, hold on. We played as Cross for the first part of the game, many of the tutorials. We defeated a tyrant as Lynn, and I think I'm going to now play as Elma. Alright. I do like Elma's playstyle as well. Okay, so heading outside, I will first stop at the mission control. If it will load. Okay, there. I'm going to stop at mission control because mission control is a very important kiosk. Yeah, not as... Yeah, much more important than the other really important kiosk you mentioned earlier. Because here I can accept something called basic missions. So there are a few main types of missions in this game. Missions basically act as the side quest for this game. There are missions, which are the missions that you can get from mission control. These here, you don't accept them from people. You just go to mission control and you can see all the basic missions available. It'll tell you the category, whether it be social or where you have to go talk to people. Gathering, which is basically fetch quests. You have to go collect items, and bounty, which is basically killing a few enemies. These are basic tasks. Essentially, think of them as the generic quest from the original Xenoblade. Where you could just accept them from non-named NPCs, and you could go complete very simple tasks for a bit of experience and some money. Same thing applies here. They're a really good way of grinding, and they're a really good way of leveling up and getting stronger at this game. And typically, I will do a lot of these between streams, just so that I can boost some of my levels a bit. I'm going to just accept a few right now. I don't want to mess with the Moranium request yet. I'm going to go over what Moranium is. Behold the Cran Jelly. I'm just going to accept all of these, so I can slowly complete them over time. In my opinion, that's the best way that you can do basic missions. Typically, what I'll do is I'll just accept a lot of them at one time, and then as I do other things, I can complete them as I see fit. And I already completed Sweet Sirloin. Okay. And I gained some affinity. That's another thing. Doing basic missions increases the affinity between all of your party members, so that's very, very useful, making them fight better together. And more affinity equals more overall things you can do, like affinity missions, which we will get to later. So the next type of mission is a normal mission, which there are a lot of out in New LA right now. One of which is right here. For normal missions, you just go around to people in New LA, and they will have this question mark over their head, meaning they have a normal mission for you. Normal missions are typically a bit deeper. There's a few more objectives you have to do. There's typically like a story around behind them, and I really like the normal missions. Doing them allows you to see more into the lives of the people in New LA. I'm going to quickly start with this one from Sadie.
Now what?
Excuse me. Sorry to bother you, but I know you're terribly busy. But is there any way you might help me with a rather urgent request? Yes. So what she basically wants us to do, I'm going to just paraphrase this. Okay, here's what he has to say. There's a skell there's a skell that crashed somewhere in Primordia, somewhere nearby in Primordia, that we need to go repair. And she's an engineer. She was going to send some repair tools to them, but she can't do that right now, and we have to go deliver them. Okay, I'm a mechanic, you see, specializing in skells. I tend to head up a lot of important projects. Or sorry, do I sound braggy? Not really, but okay. That's coming from someone who I will admit kind of brags a lot. I pride myself on customer service, but me wandering around the city is just no. Bad idea. Bad idea. Especially with the whimsical dual gill that broke their skull. That broke their skull still kicking around. Much as I want to help, okay, I cannot. But okay. So apparently the thing that wrecked their skull was a monster, and that's why she's not going to help them. So we have to go kill that monster, and to go help the people of the skull. We have miles to go. That's the name of this quest, and we will accept it. We'll set as our navigational target. That's another thing. That's another pretty good enhancement for this game over the original Xenoblade. Once again, overall, I prefer the original Xenoblade. It's my favorite game of all time. But I will say that this game did make a lot of enhancements. For one, I really do like the mission control system. I like how there is actually a separation between normal missions, ones that actually have stories and they actually need to be devoted to, and basic missions, which are just simple tasks. In the original Xenoblade, it was kind of hard to tell because they're only separated by named and not named NPCs, either being Colony 9 resident or Dionysus. I don't know. But there's actually a separation between them, and also I feel like the generic quest or basic missions in this game are handled a lot better, in my opinion. I think that you can just accept a lot of the ones you want. They're all on a mission board, and it's very nice in how it's handled. In addition, you can also set missions to your navigational target, so that there's an arrow on the minimap that's always pointing to where you need to go to complete a specific mission. Very, very nice and very, very helpful. Of course, it doesn't do this for fetch quests or gathering missions, where you have to go gather items. That's because there isn't a single place you can gather an item, but rather you need to just go explore the world and try to find some. So, you can if we did have a landmark somewhere where we need to go, we would skip travel there, but we do not have that right now, and so we have to go run there. We're going to collect a few collectibles on our way there, because I believe for one of the quests we needed to collect some cran jellies. There's some Lapexes we could fight if we want to. What level are we currently? That's level 9. We are not strong enough to fight that quite yet. I do want to level up a little bit on the way there. We'll say that much. There's another quest I can accept right there, but typically you want to do, due to the stories that are in the quests, you typically want to do one normal mission at a time, so that you can devote yourself to one without having to focus on like 20 different stories at one time and 20 different problems that people have at one time. And also, it's good for your navigational targets, so you can just quickly finish one and then move on to the other and do one at a time. Okay. So, heading out here. I love these flush plains. I'll praise again the graphics of this game. Though I do think that the art style is better than in the original. Oh, that is a level 81. Yeah, hi there. Hey, Redden the Territorial. I'm not fighting you right now. What just noticed me? Hold on. Level 9. I'm not going to deal with you either. Young Grex. Yeah, I'm not going to deal with that one. Get away from me, please. Will this thing please get away? It's still chasing us. Okay, there. Yeah, it was aggressive and it noticed us. Okay, more collectibles I can get around here. Collecting collectibles, just like in the original, is very addicting. I don't really understand why, it's just, I find it addicting. Anyway, heading further out, is there I'm going to check the gamepad. Okay, we're close to our target. You can see it out in the gamepad. We're also close to another probe. I might actually install the probe that we're close to. There's just some aggressive Swedes. I'm going to try to go... okay, I'm right in the way of them. I think I'm just going to go around this way, get out of their line of sight. There's a really, really powerful monster over there. You can see that there's a... It's called a Millisaur. That thing's a tyrant. I believe it's like level 99 or something. It's really powerful. Here's Miles, and here's his Rex skill. So we're going to talk to him. Hey, a little help over here? Some indigent attacked us during our assignments. It got one of my men pretty good. You mean pretty well? Okay. Skill is busted too, but is busted too. Darn thing won't move at all. Think maybe you could spare us some supplies. Sadie sent us, yes. So Sadie sent us the supplies, and we can just give it to him. She also sent us with the repair kit. I'll give it to him. And you can also see to the side, whenever you complete quests, it benefits your affinity chart. Not only is there affinity that you build between your characters, but there's also, as you do quests, as you do different missions, you can build the bonds between the people that you meet themselves, even though you can't play as them. So I've always just found it fun to see people's relationships with one another, and the more you talk to people, the more whenever you talk to someone, they will be registered on your affinity chart. The more you talk to them, the more you'll figure out about their lives and their relationships with other people. So that's really, really nice. This was in the original Xenoblade as well, and I love the idea, how it just kind of fleshes out the world a lot more. World building is a major part of this game, and you'll see that as we go along. I asked JD for help, but I wasn't exactly getting my hopes up. You know what I mean? I'm impressed you made it out here in one piece. Well, we were almost noticed by a level 81 monkey, or simius in here. See how easy the trip was. We could boast. And we gained some affinity with Lynn. That does sound like something that Lynn would do. That's supposed to be a dig. You digging at us? Yeah. I don't like your grammar. Heck, if that giant ninja thing hadn't turned up, I'd be slamming down a cold one right now. How the heck did you beat that whimsical duel go anyway? That thing was huge. What? You made it all the way out here without running into it? Not even once? Yeesh. Either somebody's watching out for you or somebody's got it in for us. Well, depending on your religion, that could be true. Anyway, your play is as lucky as us, and alright, what do you think? Alright, so he wants us to, yeah, he's really infuriated with us, and he's frustrated with himself because his skill was wrecked. So he wants us to actually go kill the whimsical dual kill, and I believe that that should be right around here somewhere. Yeah, right over there. Right, what level is it? Level 9. We may not be able to take that. Let's see. We may not actually be able to take that right now. I guess... I can try attacking it from afar, just not... Okay, it'll come toward us, though. I'll attempt, but if I die, then then it's not because I'm bad at this. I'm just low level right now. Hold on. Let's see if I can get from behind. Lynn, I really need you to draw the enemy right now. Okay, did not do that, but whatever. Right there, Shadow Strike. It's no stream edge, not Shadow Strike. I just did Shadow Strike. Let's see if I can just do that. Oh, that one's bad. Okay, we're doing pretty well here. Side slash. Let's see if I can increase my critical chance just to get off a little bit more damage. Cross that low health, but all of the other this is dead. Okay, side slash, and this should be done. Yeah, there you go. That was good, actually. So cross will survived. Another good thing about this game that was also in the original, you don't have to heal after battles. You automatically start healing up after a battle, and any dead party members will automatically be revived. So we defeated the whimsical dual girl. Now we will report back to Miles. Hello. Well, you beat that whimsical dual girl into next week, yes? Hold on now. Judging from the air of confidence and the smug grin on your face, I'd say that baby's 6 feet under. So yeah, he music to his ears, pretty impressive stuff. Yep. Okay. We gotta thank you. I really don't like this person's grammar. All right. Flipping those data probes okay, never mind. I was reading that incorrect. Hopefully the indigent data they chum out will make sure that no one gets hit by another nasty surprise. All right. Support. Hey, thanks. Pathfinders are an elite group, even by Blade standards. So this guy's a Pathfinder, and he was sent out here to go install a probe, but he was attacked. Yeah. How nuts this planet is. Foreseeable future. Okay. Rookie mistakes for me here on out. You be careful too. Let's the both of us live for a long, long time. See where humanity goes, you know? Yeah, the humanity's future is pretty unknown for us right now. I'm not just talking about this game. I'm also talking about in their real life. Yeah, I'm worried as well. Anyway, that quest is complete, and that is our first mission we have completed. Miles has returned to New LA. We have gained some affinity, and we have leveled up. Okay. So, as you can see, there's a lot of benefits to going around New LA, accepting missions, and doing them, because you can not only increase your level by getting experience, but you can also get money, which you can then use to buy things, and also, you increase your affinity, which means that your characters will fight better. Now, there is a probe nearby. I think I'm going to go install that just before I leave, and go tackle another quest. Hold on, let me check on the chat. I'm going to stop for a minute. Let me check on the chat. Not much at all has happened to the chat, but anyway. Continuing with where I was. The probe is actually just over there. Let's turn night, and we will approach the probe. Mashing A, and installed. Okay. And now on the gamepad, once you install 2 probes that are near each other, well, actually a probe that is adjacent to another probe you've already installed, you will see that there is a connection. There's like a line that's linking the 2 probes. I had to itch my eye. And that line represents a connection, and that connection will be very important because probes that are connected will have benefits. Essentially, how should I explain this? Okay, actually there's a quest that will explain it better than I can, so I can go do that quest. Hold on. Let me skip travel. I'm doing this from my gamepad. I'm going to skip travel back to Lake Concourse. Okay. Another thing about doing quests is that in addition to installing probes, doing missions and exploring the area will also increase something called your survey rate. Your survey rate is basically how much of the area of a certain area, or a certain region, I should say, you have completed. And a completed segment will be represented by a gold shield. The gold shield, there is now a gold shield in the segment where Sadie was, right over here. And that means that I've completed all the quests that are available in the segment. To obtain a 100% in this game, you need to have a 100% survey rate, which means that every single segment needs to have a gold shield. The gold shield would basically represent that all of the quests have been done, or all of the missions that are in that segment have been done, the landmarks have been discovered, and that any probes that were there have already been installed. So those are the three main things that go into survey rates. Landmark and location discovery, probe installation, and quest completion. Anyway, I think I'll do one more quest, and then I will end the stream, because this is actually a very important quest, right over here. You're going to hear me refer to them as quests. That's just because in the original game they were referred to as quests, and in many other games referred to as side quests. But the official name is mission, just remember that. Alright, so here we have a mission from Kirsty. It's Cross, right? Well, you're not talking to Cross, you're talking to Elma, but I am Cross. Cross is in our party, and you're supposed to be playing as Cross right now. Okay, confirm. Oh good, I've been looking for you. My name's Kirsty, excuse me, with a K. I'm the operations manager for Frontier Nav. We'll be coming back to her a lot. She has a lot of quests throughout this game, and most of them are tutorial quests that are teaching you a specific gameplay mechanic. Nagi requested that I brief you on the whole Frontier Nav deal. Sound good? Yes. Well, we don't know all about it, so we'll listen to her. Excellent, I like your curiosity. Well, you're speaking to Elma. You're intended to be speaking to Cross for this, but you're speaking to Elma, and Elma knows pretty much everything you're saying right now. So this is kind of funny, but hey. Always remember that Frontier Nav connects us to the land. And like the rest of Mira, it takes dedication and curiosity to really understand. So then, first lesson. There are several different types of data probes that can be installed at Frontier Nav probe placement sites. It's vital that you keep the desired application in mind, because each type of probe yields different effects. What's more, placing the exact same type and grade of data probe in neighboring sites will amplify the effects of each probe. Now, I could stand here and make you listen to a long, drawn-out explanation, but I think it's just better if you just try out each one for yourself. Okay, so we have the Professional. Interesting pun there, but okay. We'll accept it, and we'll set it as a navigation target. Remember the data probe you installed it on the Eastgate plane? Yes. I do. Good, I can see why you're on Nagi's shortlist. Just because we answered your question, and we have good memory. Okay, I guess that represents our attentiveness, but I mean, that's not that hard to do. So if you ever need to verify its exact location, just access the segmented map with your comm device. Your comm device in this game is intended to be the gamepad. That's why you have your map and your Frontier Nav on your gamepad. I'll point out a pair of placement sites in the planes past the west gates that you can chain together on the Frontier Nav grid. Head there and install a data probe at each site, okay? But I don't want just any probes installed there. You need to change them to be the same type. That's how you get the chain amplification effects. You can change a data probe's type by using your comm device. Just touch the corresponding site on the segmented map. If you select change probe, you can take your pick from all of the unused data probes you've got. You do have unused data probes, right? No, we do not. Here, take a few mining probes just in case. We do not. That's good. Okay. So I will go over what all of the types mean. Basically, she wants us to go install a bunch of we got Mimizome Maintenance Center. We'll get to that later, but anyway, I will go to my map. We've already installed 2 of the probes, but right now they're just normal probes. We have 1 more to install, and I will head there. Here. I'm accessing this from the... Okay. Skip travel. Well, actually, we only have 1 of them. We don't have 2 yet. Okay. We have the escape plane, which we can change the escape plane to a different type of probe from our comm device, but first we need to actually install the probes first. Yeah, that was excellent commentary. First we need to install the probes first. So the next probe we need to install is right over here. It shows 3 arrows on the map. That's because there's 3 different probes we need to install. We'll get to this quest later, Nathan. That will be the next quest we do. I just want to take care of this one because it's a tutorial and it's teaching you a new gameplay mechanic. Okay, so I guess on the way there, I will go over the different types of probes. Basically, different probe sites have different benefits. Actually, it'd be better if I explain while I'm installing, or while I'm reinstalling the probe or changing the probe. So I will install the probes first, and then while I'm changing it, I will explain the different types of probes. Okay. A few items over here I'm going to get on the way there. No matter your quest objective, you pretty much always want to be collecting items, because collecting items has tons of benefits. Not only you're working towards certain basic missions, but also there's something called the Collectopedia, which I will go over later. Okay, let's install this probe. The level 1 mechanical, that's a concept we'll get to later. The different field skills. Okay. Once again, I'm going to install them first and then change them later. That's a Senicula, but because it's not aggressive, I can just run past it. You're not going to attack me, dude. Even though I'm in your habitat, you see me right in front of you. You're still not going to attack me. Okay. Alright, so we're on our way to the 3rd probe. We're going to install that, and then from our comm device, change all of them into mining probes. Once again, collecting a few collectibles while I'm heading there. Right, we've reached Sarum Lake, which there are a few, actually quite a lot of enemies over there, including a tyrant. We're going to try to avoid that. Well, actually, we don't have to avoid that because they're not aggressive, so we can just run in their habitat and they won't see us at all, or bother to go up to us or attack us at all. There's a Millisaur over there. And we're approaching the probe. Right here. We install it, and now we can change it from our comm device, or, yeah, our gamepad. So, changing probes, basically, right now we have a mining probe. There are many different types of probes in this game. There are research probes, mining probes, storage probes, and there's another one, but I can't remember at the moment. Battle probes, that's the other one. Basically, they have specific effects. No, support probes, not battle probes. So, basically, if you highlight a probe, if you tap a probe on your gamepad, it will show up with some of the benefits of the area. It'll have, there are 3 different stats that it could have, well, actually 4 different stats that it could have. Production, revenue, combat support, and sightseeing spots found. Depending on the grades that are given to these different stats of the area around it, that determines the type of probe you would really want to put there. The whole point of probes isn't just for installing areas and filling in more frontier nav and also your survey rate, but also probes produce resources, particularly money and uranium. Over time, not uranium, muranium. The main way you get money in this game is from your probes. Probes will mine money out of the ground and will produce different money. It will go straight to you. You don't have to go back and collect it. You'll just see on the side of the screen whether you, how much money the funds you've gotten from a certain probe at a certain time. and also the Moranium you've collected. The Moranium is then used for arms manufacturers and specific basic missions, but we'll get to that later. I'm getting ahead of myself. That's all in production. So the production stats, currently I'm highlighting the one that's the Eastgate plane. The production has an A in production. So so a mining probe, which would in turn enhance the production, would be useful here because it has an A in production and you could get the most out of it. There's a Millisaur. Hi. You're level 53. You're not aggressive, so you're not going to see us, so I don't have to worry about anything. But anyway, so I'm going to change it to a mining probe, even though I wouldn't do anything else anyway because I don't have any other type of probe. And this next one, I'm going to change all of these to a mining probe. So the other stats are, alright, so and when you have three, as she said, the links that are between probes that I talked about earlier, adjacent probes will have a link between them, and that link basically represents that if you put three of the same type of probe together, that are three probes that are linked, their benefits will be increased. They will go up by, in this case, 15%. We only have level 1 mining probes. There are other types of mining probes you can get. If it's a level 2 mining probe, then that would be even better. It produce even more Moranium. And the connection, the benefits would increase as well. There's a lot to take in, but and there's another quest later that will explain that better. But just for right now, just know that you can change probes and the different types of probes. And that mining probes will increase the production of Moranium. There's also revenue, and mining probes will both increase production and revenue, which are two of the types of stats. Combat support deals with battle probes, which we'll get to later, and sightseeing spots found deals with research probes, which we'll get to later. Those will all be explained in other quests, also gotten by Kirsty. Anyway, so, Kirsty's not here. Okay, she's at the Blade Concourse now, according to our quest objective. Or, actually, no, she just appeared over there.
Sir.
Oh wait, she's only here during the day, yeah. I think I might have said this before, but depending on the time of day, different NPCs have schedules, and they will appear in different places depending on the day or the night. So here's Kirsty. The probes are installed and set up as mining probes. Perfect. And you saw that. You were saying "and," but you weren't even looking at your comm device. You were looking at us. Could you read our mind? Creepy. Okay. Anyway, you work fast. I'm sure that's part of what Nagi sees in you. Well, we could just do it in our comm device. That was a walk in the park. All right, there, rookie. Don't go getting a big head. This stuff should be easy. Well, yeah, this is true. And also, I still find it funny how she's talking to Elma through all of this, as she's facing Elma, even though she's supposed to be talking to Cross. Try setting your comm device's display to Frontier Nav mode. You should see there three sites circled in red, connected by 3 links. That's a 3-link combo. It boosts the effects of each of these data probes by 30%. If you get that link combo up to 5 neighboring sites with the same data probe type set, the effects will be amplified by 50%. And an 8 probe link combo will net you an extra 80%. You see where this is going? Yes. The more probes that you have linked together, the higher the bonus you will have. Which, this is your incentive to go out and explore the world and find new probes, install them, change them to what you want, and get tons of money and tons of Moranium. The more data probes of the same type you install in neighboring placement sites, the more efficient Frontier Nav and your related assignments will be. So, think you've got the hang of this chaining data probes, Jazz? I think I do. Well, I've played this game before, so of course I do. Swift pupils make teaching a pleasure. Well then, I'd say that concludes your first assignment. You can say that you can have this research probe by by way of reward. Don't say I never gave you anything. Okay. And we can't really do much with research probes yet because I haven't gotten over what they do. Well, actually, she just went over what they do. So our new objective for this quest is to install a research probe at a Frontier Nav site. So have we already explored that Frontier Nav site? Actually, we first need to discover the unexplored territory. So basically, research probes and research probes deal with the sightseeing spots found. If you look on the gamepad, it will show you, and if you click a probe that has been installed, you will see how many sightseeing spots there are, and depending on the number of sightseeing spots there are, if there's higher number, you want to install a research probe there, so that that more people can see them. That will benefit. And you will benefit from getting revenue by that. You benefit from that by getting revenue. Jeez. But first, you actually need to explore the unexplored territory, which that's what we're doing right now, to actually register it as a sightseeing spot found. Okay. And the sightseeing spot they want found is Rock Cavern, which is right over here. And once again, I know this is an information overload. There is a lot of information to take in right now, but by playing this game, you will actually be able to understand a lot better. And I will check the chats at the moment. Still nothing. Okay. Heading up this mountain, I believe that near the top of this mountain is the sightseeing spot. By the way, I need to check something. Check something with the stream real quick. Okay, things are still up and running. My volume is fine. Okay. Okay, so heading to Rock Cavern. Am I heading there? Yeah, I'm still heading the right way. I know. Sorry about that. I had something I need to attend to. Anyway, we have arrived at the place where the rock cavern is. I just need to jump down to the bottom. Also, this music represents that there is danger nearby. In addition, did you see that? We didn't take any. We fell from a high distance, but we didn't take a high height. We didn't take any damage. In this game, unlike the original Xenoblade, there is no fall damage, increasing I guess, encouraging platforming and exploration. Something I really liked about the original that is even enhanced in this game somehow. Anyway, here's Rock Cavern, and this is the place we must explore. Explore territory, Rock Cavern. Typically, an unexplored territory is represented as a sightseeing site in a probe area. If we go inside, there are really strong enemies, so we're going to leave. The good thing is they're not aggressive, so we can still explore a bit around here, but I still don't want to explore around here quite yet. So my mic was down by my chest. Okay. So now that we have seen the unexplored territory, the sightseeing spots has been registered on our probe. So then we can change this probe to research probe, encouraging the researching of this area. And thus we can gain revenue for that. So change the probe, and we can change it to the research probe that Kirsty gave us. It doesn't improve the link between these, because that same probe is then linked to the other probes. But even still, my revenue will increase since the revenue I get from that probe will increase since I have put a research probe at an area that benefits from a research probe, because there is a sightseeing spot in the adjacent segments. Now back to Kirsty. Okay, and Kirsty should be right here.
I see.
Yes, there you are. Welcome back, Cross. Or Elma, you know. The Rock Cavern looks like a pretty mystical place. Folks here in town were all blown away by it, and they somehow, in the 2 seconds, or that's over-exaggerating, 2 minutes that it took us from between Rock Cavern and getting here, people have already gone there. Yeah, game logic. It makes total sense. You seem curious how they could have seen it without you leaving New LA. I am. Well, by accessing the research probe you installed, you can view the data. It's amazed. It's amassed. Yes, that's why they saw it. It isn't a plot hole. That actually explains the benefit to research probes. Civilians living here, that's their only way of learning about the outside world. Probes you're installing aren't just a way to track down parts of the white whale's lifehold. Sure, they serve as a source of hope for the future, but they're also helping people today. They're giving people a taste of the outside world, something that I don't get much of, because since I'm a bit of an introvert. If you know anything about me, I'm a lot of an introvert, actually. Anyway, yes, it makes sense. I like the fire in your eyes. Oh, and you'll also receive sightseeing profits, and as I said, you'll receive revenue for this, and yeah. That's the basic idea. And she'll explain about Moranium as well. Also, she'll explain there that the more research probes you put down by segments that are adjacent to other segments, by probes that are adjacent to other segments that have sightseeing spots, that will increase the maximum amount of Moranium. Wait, no. That's not what I'm saying. Okay, never mind. She's talking about storage probes. Storage probes, when you plant them, they can increase the maximum amount of Moranium that the probes can hold at one time. Because they can only hold so much. So, there we go. Mission complete. A lot to say in that mission, a lot to do. Or not exactly a lot to do, but there's a lot of information in that mission that the whole probe idea will be expanded upon with other missions later on. So anyway, we can put it into actual use on our own, and there we go. That segment recon is now complete. Okay, so I think that's where we'll end the stream today. Alright, next time, Xenoblade Chronicles X, we will be completing just a few more missions and then heading out to see where what has happened to Nelson's team of Pathfinders. I will see you then. Excuse me.